Oh, 11-12. What's up, Game Weepers? Patch Jizz is back at it, and it is that time again for all of us to roast Markieta and his Gold 4 collies on the balance team, because we are about to smash through the controversial listed changes for the upcoming 11-12 patch. So if you want to know which champions are going to get buffed, which champions are going to get nerfed, which items are going to get changed, it is all in this video. Now, you know what else is in here? A Pro Guides ad, that's right. No, you guys probably got it before the video, so I won't give you another one, but there is a friendly request for you to first of all subscribe to this Red Hot channel if you haven't already, that's subscribe. And second of all, to check out the GameWeeb website for all of the Challenger Tier Elite content you need to escape the abyss of gold, silver, bronze, diamond, whatever elo you are in, whatever region you are from, apart from maybe Turkey. We have the advice, the guides, the courses, the instructions to help you get out of it, so sign up. Links in the description and comment section. Alright, so let's get into it, and let the gist just say here that you guys are going to be happy with this patch, because for the most part, Riot have targeted the champions that are pretty weak at the moment for buffs, and have also targeted champions that are probably a little overtuned in the nerfs department, but there are still some questionable decisions here. It wouldn't be Riot without questionable. Now, in the buff department, we have 7 champions to talk about, and the first 2 are some AD carries that haven't been really that strong this season, and these are Aphelios and Draven. Now, Aphelios, as we all know, in a pro environment where there's some coordination, where there's some cohesion going on, Aphelios can really work. He is one of the best 1v9 ADCs in the game. But the problem in solo queue, because there is no coordination, and you have champions on the other team with so much mobility, which is getting changed in 11-13 now, there's so much damage, there's so much CC as well, you have so much to look out for in those big team fights that it's almost impossible to stay alive and actually carry. Even though Riot did buff your lethality value and all of your ultimate weapon a few patches ago, Aphelios still has one of the lowest win rates on the Rift. So definitely a worthy buff. And as for Draven, while he's nowhere near as bad as Aphelios, so you Draven mains, Tyler 1, that grin of yours is going to be even bigger now. You know, because Draven is performing better in solo queue than Aphelios and has around a 50% win rate overall, which is pretty good. So this buff will have to wait until tomorrow and keep our eyes open to find out what exactly this is, but the Jews certainly didn't expect to see Draven on here. In before, it's something like you have 5 more base HP. Now, the next 2 champions I want to discuss a little bit are 2 top laners, and these are Illaoi and Malphite. And for Illaoi last patch, there were 2 items that you can potentially build that got buffed, right? So Divine Sunderer got buffed, and Black Cleaver got buffed as well. So at the moment, if you do want to play Illaoi, if you want that freelo, it is the time to pick her. So Illaoi's getting buffed, so she's going to be even stronger in that laning phase. Now, I know a lot of people in lower elos really don't like versing Illaoi, but we'll have to see exactly what this is tomorrow. And for Malphite, well, yeah, Malphite's getting a buff. Now, I'm not too sure about this one. Yes, okay, Bramblevest did get nerfed last patch, but does Malphite really need a buff? I mean, tanks are becoming more popular, that is true, because the tank items are so good right now, and Malphite isn't really the best champion to go against tanks, so maybe Riot are trying to get him on par with everyone else, but yeah, the gist thinks that maybe another champion could have been buffed instead. Alright, so we've talked about AD carries, we've talked about top laners, well, what about mid laners? Well, there's only one mid laner getting buffed next patch, and this is Ziggs. So those of you who like bombing your way around the Rift, 11-12 is going to be your happy place. So Ziggs is getting buffed, but the interesting thing here, guys, with Ziggs is that if Riot buff him for the mid lane, where he doesn't actually perform as well as he does in the bot lane, well, surely that's going to buff him for bot lane anyway. So if you are playing Ziggs right now, yes, the mid lane is pretty scary because there's so much damage, there's so much mobility, but if you do want a better chance of winning, AP carry Ziggs in that bot lane is the way to go. But again, we'll have to wait until tomorrow to see what the change really is. Now, the last 2 champions on the buffed list for Riot in the next patch are 2 junglers, and the first one is Rammus. And ever since Rammus got reworked a few patches ago, he has really been struggling. We've also got to keep in mind that Chemtank has been nerfed multiple times in the last few patches because of Udyr and Hecarim, so other champions who use Chemtank really haven't been that great, and Rammus falls into that category. Now, the other champion who was a Chemtank abuser is Hecarim, who is the last champion getting buffed. Now, last patch, Divine Sunderer became the go-to mythic for Hecarim players, so we've gone from Chemtank to Divine Sunderer. But even though Divine Sunderer is better, Hecarim is actually in a really tough spot right now because Riot have nursed him completely into the ground. His Q, his E, and his clear is worse. He's less healthy when he comes out of the jungle, and he's a lot less scary when he's charging at you. So those are the 7 champions getting buffed, and we've got to talk about the champion nerfs now, and there are 6 of these. Now, once again, we're going to start in the bot lane, and the 2 AD carries that have been nerfed next patch, or are going to be nerfed next patch, are Kai'Sa and Varus. Now, for Kai'Sa, despite the nerfs to her Q, she is still a really strong champion. And it's kind of no surprise because she is a 2019 plus champion, but she's still the most popular champion, has a very good win rate still, and even with with the recent Halo Blades nerf, yeah, no biggie. So Kai'Sa is the first AD carry in the first of 6 champions getting nerfed, and the second AD carry is Varus. And I'm guessing what Riot are going to do here is something around the lethality Varus build that is taking over at the moment with Prowler's Core, because Prowler's Core is really meant to be an AD assassin mythic, but for Varus, because it gives you the most lethality, so your Qs are going to be half helping everyone, and through its mythic passive it's giving you lethality with each major item you buy, the build is actually very strong. But to be honest, I would have expected some Varus buffs, if anything, to help his on-hit build, which is still really struggling. And what makes it even worse is that Varus is getting nerfed during the Pride month. Alright, so the last 4 champions getting buff, guys. These 4 are top laners, so we've got 4 top laners here to talk about who are getting nerfed next patch. Now, I think Riot finally realized how good some of these guys were, but there are a couple of questionable ones here. Now, the 2 questionable ones, I want to start with these, are Gnar and Renekton. Now, Gnar and Renekton, in pro play, yes, they can get picked a lot because they provide so much CC and utility to a team, but in solo queue, these guys have really dropped off because of all the recent nerfs. And just in terms of the top lane, I can name like 20 other champions that are better than these 2, or 20 other champions that deserve nerfs before these 2 at least. So pretty weird to see Gnar and Renekton on this list, and I'm sorry to everyone who plays these 2 champions, because you've had a pretty rough run of it recently. Now the other 2 nerfs coming are way more validated. These are legit, and I even called it as well. I said, if you play Wukong, if you play Nasus, next patch, Riot are going to dial down some of that power, because with Divine Sunderer buffed, with Black Cleaver buffed for Wukong, and then for Nasus you have Frozen Heart buffed, and pretty much every other tank item he builds, these 2 champions are the powerhouses of the top lane right now. I mean, Wukong has boasted one of the highest win rates across the board for so long now. For someone from the Riot balance team finally versed Wukong in that top lane in their gold game. And as for Nasus, as I said, his items are in such a good state, and Nasus has been in a good state since Riot buffed his Q way back in the preseason. So they reduced it by half a second, and since then, Nasus has just been in a great spot. So these 2 nerfs, definitely understandable, but yep, there are some questionable ones in there. As I said before the video, you guys will have to let me know down in the comments what you think of the champions getting buffed and champions getting nerfed. And I almost forgot, we've also got the Dr. Mundo adjustment coming next patch, so Mundo's rework. So those of you who like going where you please, get your cleavers ready. So stay tuned until tomorrow's video, guys, where we break down the details of these changes. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a like as well, it really helps us out. And until tomorrow's video, this has been the Jizz. Bye!